This episode is brought to you by the CNY Women's Network, a media and PR company connecting and celebrating women professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders across Central New York. From networking experiences and wellness pop-ups to our annual CNY Women's Summit, which is the largest event for women leaders in this region, we're building a community where women feel seen, supported, and inspired to grow. We're currently partnering with sponsors for our 2026 event season, including the CNY Women's Summit, our walking club, co-working meetups, fitness pop-ups, editorial campaigns, you name it. If your brand is passionate about empowering women and making meaningful community connections, we'd love to collaborate. You can start the conversation and learn more by heading to cnywomensnetwork.com/opportunities. That's cnywomensnetwork.com/opportunities. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Cultivate CNY. I am your host, Alex Canavan, and in this episode, I sit down with Tricia Matthews, CEO of Vera House, and Rebecca Shiroff, Senior Director of Strategic Partnerships and Intergovernmental Affairs, to discuss one of our community's most critical missions, which is supporting survivors of domestic and sexual violence. Tricia and Rebecca share insights from their combined decades of nonprofit leadership, policy work, and community building as they guide Vera House's efforts to provide safety, advocacy, and healing across Central New York. From crisis intervention to prevention education, Vera House creates pathways for survivors to rebuild and recover while working to shift the broader culture around these issues. This conversation explores the power of partnership, the importance of community support, and why standing with survivors matters now more than ever. It's a thoughtful but necessary discussion about leadership, compassion, and creating real change in our region. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Tricia Matthews, Rebecca Shiroff, welcome to Cultivate CNY.
Thank you for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you both here. I'm excited about the conversation we're going to have today. It's a very important one. What we're going to talk about might be a little heavy. It might be a little shocking to some, but nonetheless, these are important conversations to be having. I just went to your gala a few weeks back and had an absolutely fantastic time with my girlfriends. It was so well done. The dinner was really good. Like the food was great, obviously. But also, I just loved that I had a chance to get all dolled up and wear a fancy dress and go out for the night. I feel like Syracuse needs more events like that, even though we're in the middle of gala season. Have there been any other fun events that you guys have attended as, community participants, socialites, if you will?
Too many.
So many.
It is the gala season.
It is gala season.
It is. But I think it's very important to support other nonprofits, especially now. So we do everything we can. A lot of times we'll try and divide and conquer because, you also have to have that work-life balance. And I know my boyfriend is a saint. I'm like, guess what? We have another event. What do I wear?
It is important to do, though. It's very important to
Incredibly.
Because all of these agencies and the work that goes on behind the scenes with all of them, it's all important.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So as much as we're out there trying to promote Vera House, it's all important.
Yeah.
All the work is.
And in the end, I think in some way, shape, or form, we all are in some way tied together. We need each other.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need each other for sure.
And you need to show, in order to you can't just expect the village without being a good villager yourself.
That's
right. So
correct.
showing up, showing face, even if you can only go for 30 minutes.
I may use that sometime.
Go out. That's what I say. I'm like, I just need to show face and then we can get out of there.
Yeah.
But it is important that you show up.
Sure.
You talk to whoever you got to talk to, but just show your support.
Right. 100%.
And, especially this time of year, it's really hard to get to everything. I wish I've recently realized that I need to find a way, maybe for next year's gala season, to divide and conquer, because I honestly feel like I've been getting no real work done. Because I'm just at every event on top of all the events that we host for CNY Women's Network.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's been a ton of fun. I remember starting the CNY Women's Network and really craving access to this community, this amazing, vibrant, professional community here. And, one of the things that I really, was manifesting was going to galas and getting the invite. And so now that I'm here, Rebecca, was so kind to make me her guest at the Vera House Gala. And that's why I was able to attend. And like, I remember being there and thinking, this is exactly like where I want to be and what I wanted a couple of years ago when I started this.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's very exciting. And I think also the stories that we heard and the messages were very powerful. You know, one of the things that we always say about domestic violence is that it doesn't discriminate. It's not a socioeconomic thing. It's not a religious thing. It's not an identity thing. It affects everyone. You know, we also, men are affected by domestic violence as well, which sometimes people are surprised to hear, but it happens. So I think there were a lot of powerful messages that night, especially the highlight for me was seeing our shelter director, Emmeline, up on stage after her video diary, and then to see her walk out there, this independent, just powerful woman that is now, you know, happily engaged to a man who cherishes her, and she's on the other side of it, but she's paying it forward because now she's our shelter director, so she fully understands what these people are going through when they get to the shelter, and she gives them hope. She's like a beacon of hope for them. So that was my favorite part of the night. It literally, I was sobbing at the table. You know, it was just so, it was amazing. And that's what it's about, giving that hope, you know,
and seeing that people come to the other side of it.
Yes.
Right. So we talk a lot about the great work that we do, but also talking about our impact, right? So we can't just check the box that we taught the class or educated the people or housed the victim, but we've got to really start to do an assessment of, is it working? Are we making a difference? So we've got some grandiose ideas for 2026, what that's going to look like, right? Really assessing ourselves, looking for some additional funding to talk about following these people, like when someone comes out of shelter, following them through for 6 months to a year to make certain that they stay on their feet and they feel safe. I don't know, do they go back because they get out there 60 days later and life's hard?
Yeah.
And now you're doing it by yourself.
And they might not have ever done it by themselves before.
No.
It might be a whole new life that they're entering.
And it's frightening.
Yeah.
Life in itself is hard, right? When you have a
Life
healthy
is hard
relationship.
for perfectly stable, healthy people in healthy relationships. So to be a vulnerable victim of domestic abuse is really dicey. And, you know, there's some statistic out there, like it takes on average someone about 7 times to actually leave a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you think about the fact that 1 in 4 women are in some way touched either by domestic violence or sexual assault, that's really scary. That is
Everybody
really
knows
scary.
somebody,
Yeah.
whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
You know someone that this is, because there are people that are sitting in it that they don't even know it's abuse.
You don't have to have bruises to be a victim of domestic violence. And that's something that I always tell people, like you know, emotional, psychological, sometimes that can be even worse.
Sure.
That could take a lifetime to get over if you ever get over it. Because inevitably, sometimes even when you're in a healthy relationship, you have remnants of that kind of creep up, and you have to push it away and say, okay, nope, that was that. But a lot of people, they may not be able to do that. So it doesn't just take bruises to be a victim of domestic violence. And there's people that may sometimes not reach out to Vera House. Well, I haven't been hit. Reach out anyway. You may not be ready to leave, but at least there's somebody you can talk to see what your options are. You know?
And sometimes they don't reach out because they're afraid. They're afraid of the aftermath of reaching out, right? So what happens when he does catch me or she does catch me? Or what are they going to do to my kids? Or what are they going to do to my family?
That's enough fear to keep someone stuck.
The devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Right.
So I'll stay in it.
And I think a lot of us in general, us humans, we do make a lot of interesting decisions out of self-preservation. So, you know, in situations like this, especially for women who have been conditioned to make sure everyone around them is okay, except for themselves.
We're always last.
So it's, in a way, I'm sure that you've seen it happen a lot where people, you know, sacrifice their safety and their happiness so that other people can benefit. But all in all, you need to be whether you are trying to protect your children or your abuser, you need to put yourself first, right? And
Correct.
Self-preservation is protecting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also at Vera House, and Tricia can talk more about this, when somebody reaches out, it's completely confidential. Just because you reach out to Vera House doesn't mean we're going to pick up the phone and the cops are going to be, it doesn't work like that with us, which I think sometimes may prevent people from reaching out. Oh, I don't want to get the authorities involved. And like I said, Tricia can speak more about that as far as what the process is and everything and how it works at Vera House. You can still reach out. That doesn't mean that because you reach out to us, we're going to, the cops are going to be here waiting for you.
315-468-3260 is our crisis line.
Mm-hmm.
And so, totally confidential.
How do you define a crisis? There's different kinds, of course, right?
Sure. You get to decide it, right? Because if you're feeling like you need help, you call that number. So if you need an advocate, right? Because maybe you're not ready to leave, but you need to just talk through what safety planning looks like for yourself. We have advocates that can do that. They have a caseload and they follow you through, and they have all sorts of resources within the community that can support you. We have 2 shelters. We have an accountability program, which takes care of people who have caused harm. And so sometimes they're through the prison systems, and it's mandated that you go to these classes. It's a 16-week program. Desiree Williams runs it. She does a great job. We got to help them too, right? Because if we're only going to help one side of this, we're not going to end it. And our mission says we're going to end it. So we're going to talk about, 2026, taking that kind of accountability program and working with the community to see what, jacking that up and making that a little more robust and a little bigger, and how that's going to assist. Prevention education, I talk about it all the time. We should have 100 people in our prevention education department, because that's where the rubber hits the road. Educating kids when they're young what it is and what it isn't, right? What healthy relationships are, how to have them, because sometimes they didn't see it in their own family, right? Most of the people that are creating harm were victims themselves. Yeah. So it's a whole cycle that we have to try to fix. Prevention education, we have therapy. We have our sexual assault nurse exam, our SANE program. So anytime someone ends up in the emergency room because they've been sexually assaulted, we have a team of nurses that go out. And there's a whole big process around that with the kit and chain of custody and storage, because that could go to court down the road. So that's an amazing team, because they're on call 24/7.
A lot of them work full time.
Is this volunteer based, or you guys are?
No.
Yeah.
We do have some volunteers, because there's an advocate that goes alongside that, right? Along with the nurse, then an advocate responds as well to work with the client, depending on if they want one. Sometimes they say they don't, or maybe tomorrow's a better day. I'll call the advocacy team tomorrow. We have a team of nurses that do that. Abuse in later life. So think about financial exploitation.
Elder abuse is huge.
Elder abuse. So that's an area that we need to get focused on in 2026, that we have to add some more funding to. And really, we should be in the nursing homes, banks. We should be all over the place. Educating people on what it is and what it isn't in families, so that they can pay attention to that.
You guys are covering a lot of bases, way more than I even knew about. And I really like that you guys are developing programs for the abusers, because, I think sometimes they don't even know that they're abusive.
They don't.
They don't realize that their behavior is abusive or inappropriate, especially when it comes to emotional abuse, financial abuse. Those are things that I feel like happen. They creep up slowly and insidiously in relationships, and too slow for the victim to really notice at first. And it's really hard to stop it dead in its tracks when it creeps up like that.
Correct.
And I'm sure that you guys, one of the hurdles you guys might have to face as an organization, I'm assuming that there's probably plenty of women that are struggling in our community that think that they don't need your services, maybe because they feel like they're too privileged, or they're not getting physically abused, they might be getting abused in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys, tell women like this that wouldn't ordinarily go and ask for help, go to the Vera House and ask for your help? How do you kind of welcome them in and say, we're here for you too?
So we have groups, right? Because sometimes when you come and you see that there are people in like situations
Yep.
as you have, so we're offering group sessions. I think even just calling and talking to that advocacy team to just so that they can walk you through what it is and that you get to pick what help looks like for you. Just because you come doesn't mean we're going to, haul you away and put you in a shelter, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly we can do that if that's what help looks like for you. But, just to be a peer, right?
Mm-hmm.
To know that there's lots of people just like you.
Yeah.
There's lots of people that are working at Vera House that have been a victim, right? And they've had to walk the walk and go through the journey. And sometimes they share their story and sometimes they don't. Emmeline's a great example, having healed. And because she's done the work to heal herself, she can step into this work and run the shelter. And she does a phenomenal job.
Oh, she's amazing.
Because her passion.
Amazing.
And I mean, when you sit and talk with her, she's always saying to me, Tricia, we gotta do this. And Tricia, we have to do more. And I don't disagree with any of it. We got to find the funding to do it. But that's where we start to expand and start to make certain that we're making a difference. And it's about measuring our impact. I cannot say it enough. We have to measure our impact to make certain that what we're doing is making a difference. Because the landscape of what we're dealing with changes as society changes, right? So we have to take a look at that and make certain that we're constantly challenging ourselves, constantly finding new funding, constantly talking to the people we're serving to say, is it enough?
Right.
Because if it isn't enough, we got to do more.
Right.
So we're going to always assess ourselves.
And I wanted to go back and touch on the when we talked about how, we also work with abusers, because sometimes people say, well, how can you do that? The analogy I always put out there, you can have, which we've seen, you can have one person who has been an abuser have 4 victims. The one person, 4 different victims. If you get to them after that first one, that's a potential 3 other victims that you're not going to have. So we have to break the cycle, because you can't, and Tricia has said in the past, we can't arrest our way to, ending domestic violence. It doesn't work like that. You have to educate, because again, a lot of these people have been victims themselves. That's all they know. So it's a matter of teaching what's a healthy relationship, what is consent. That's one of the things that we do on college campuses, our prevention education, because, college campuses can be a breeding ground for sexual assault. So we have to teach these kids, what is consent, and teach young women what is a healthy relationship, what is okay, what are your non-negotiables, what are, all of that is incredibly important. It all comes in a package. It's all intertwined.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So how, when you guys go on campuses to educate, or just go anywhere to educate, what do those educational sessions look like? Are you guys hosting talks or workshops?
All of it, right? To all those things.
All of the things.
Talking about healthy relationships is a big one. We had a team from SU that came through to do a tour of our main offices. Anyone's always welcome to do that. I think it's important for people to learn about what Vera House is and what it isn't, right? Because sometimes I think there's confusion. But so as they were just walking through, I happened to be walking through, and we did some introductions, and it was a good opportunity for me to just have a little chat with them to talk about, the importance of them having accountability for themselves. Like in college, when you think about, okay, I'm in the whatever group, and I'm going to go, and I don't know, you hear about it all the time, date, rape, drugs, that, and you think, okay, maybe tomorrow you wake up and think, oh, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. But maybe you then graduate and go off and live your life. Talking about the impact of what took place with that woman, that the rest of her life has changed from that one act, right? So maybe you're off in Wall Street and your life's moved on, but maybe it's that person now at 36 years old in a shelter because she has terrible self-esteem, ended up in an abusive situation.
Nightmares.
And the journey of what that looks like. We cannot say enough about long-term impact
Mm-hmm.
from just one act. It's life-changing. And then when we receive people like this, what is it that we're doing to help them, work through that journey?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. I
It's a
can't
lot
say
of
enough
work.
about this team. I'm gonna knock on wood right now. We've got an amazing team.
It's incredible.
Honest to God, I wish I had $1 million to give each one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are that passionate, and they do best when we do it best at Vera House when we partner together around a table, because no two situations are the same, to talk about what is this going to look like,
Mm-hmm.
and how are we going to help this person navigate this. And sometimes we're on the phone at 9:00 at night. I was on the phone with the director of advocacy over the weekend to talk about, here's a situation that came up and what can we do and what can't we do, but then do we sit down around the table and is there more? How
Yeah,
can
I
we
don't-
find more resources?
I don't think that there are technically work hours if you're with
Yeah.
Vera House, because like we'll text each other like, 9:00 on a
There's no-
Sunday, or, about an idea for something. And what about it's a labor of love, honestly. And I think the team that we have there now, it's just
amazing.
in their DNA. It's in their DNA, and the one theme carries through steadily. What more can we do?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just so much that needs to be done. But like Tricia mentioned, it takes funding. It's it requires funding and being able to bring more people on board to have a broader reach. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's heavy work, because there's stories you can't unhear and things you can't unsee. No matter how hard you try, they're stuck with you. But that comes with the territory, and you really truly have to love what you do to do this.
I'm sure this role that you're in, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
And I can't imagine what you guys have to do to get yourself ready and keep yourself okay, despite all the things that you're hearing about that are happening to women and to all people in this community. I'd love, before we talk about the very important programs that you guys have set in place to help people in our community, I do want to dive a little bit more into just the reality of domestic violence and sexual assault here in Central New York. What do the statistics look like right now? I know you mentioned 1 in every 4 women being affected by sexual assault. What do people often misunderstand about this broader issue?
How often it happens, right? So we can only give you numbers of people who actually
Report.
report it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases that go unreported.
I'm
sure.
sure it's probably just as much that don't, right, than do. But like so far this year, we've had, I'd say, over 220 sane reports to the emergency rooms that the nurses have had to go out. So think
For
about
sexual
that.
assaults, yeah.
We've had over 5,500 crisis calls so far since January. That's a
Wow.
lot.
That is a lot.
We've housed over 200 people so far in the shelters.
And messages on social media, sometimes before bed, I'll just kind of go on Facebook and whatever, and then I check the messages, and it's like, and then I forward them to our director of advocacy, and it doesn't matter what time it is, because, it could be a Sunday at 9 o'clock at night.
This isn't a 9 to 5.
And no, and I see that message, and my eyes are closing, I'm ready to go to sleep, but I'm forwarding that message over with like a high importance, because we need to know and we need to do something about it. So it just, again, it never really ends. And it's unfortunate to see how many of them there are.
We looked in the database, and I think it was eye-opening to see that there's over 30 communities that we have cared for someone in their communities. Over 30 in the surrounding. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful thing, though, that people know that we're here. Right? So there is a place, because think of how many places where they don't have a Vera House. I don't think it would be, are you having to drive to New York City to get help? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think, and the beauty of Onondaga County is very supportive. I think the work that's gone on here for almost 50 years, the community knows the importance of it. Maybe they don't know the ins and outs of the things that we've talked about here today. But that gala, I think, to see the energy in that room, to me, gave me goosebumps that, like, this community really understands the importance.
500 people, like, that was just
Vera
500
House.
people and over $300,000 raised. It's very obvious that Central New Yorkers, leaders in Central New York are, they care. They care about this issue.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
And they understand the detriment of this issue on communities. And, if there's one thing I learned, it's something that you said earlier, that, domestic abuse does not discriminate.
Absolutely
And
not.
I think that oftentimes it's the people that you'd least expect abuse to happen to that it does.
Sure.
I've met lots of strong, independent women that have been victims of issues like this in multiple relationships too, I think. So, what's one piece of advice you guys would give to a listener on how to be a good friend to someone that might be going through something like this?
It's a great question. Sometimes the people that you would least expect. I've had a situation of a friend who, incredibly strong woman, incredibly, like, wow, what a force. And when you are with somebody who is abusive, I think that you become blind to it, either because you desperately want to be in a relationship or because you don't see it. In those types of relationships, there's a lot of gaslighting from the abuser to turn people against friends and family because, they don't understand, or the manipulation that takes place is astonishing. It's astonishing. So my advice is, if you have someone that you feel may be in that relationship, feel it out. Some people are ready to hear it, some people are not. And it's unfortunate, but if they're not ready to hear it, you're better off maybe giving them the space to hopefully realize it on their own and still be there to be able to be a friend to them. Because sometimes if you confront it, you may sever that relationship and then they're on their own. Now, if you feel like somebody is in danger, then I think you definitely should step in a little, a little harder. I know I would, if it was one of my friends that I felt was, in danger for their life. I would be very vocal about my fears and what I'm witnessing as an outsider looking in, because sometimes when you're in it, you don't see it. Especially if you're with an abuser that's very charming or tells you everything you want to hear, or you may not see it. So it's a tough question because it's a very slippery slope.
It is a very slippery slope.
It's very complex.
Yes.
It's never black and white.
No. And you run the risk of losing that friendship.
You sure do.
Or that family member.
I've had to say something to a friend before, and I really think it's like waiting for the right time.
Yep.
It really is. And waiting for a time where it's just you and them, and their guard is down, they're not wearing their armor, and it might land. But if I were to give any piece of advice, just always come from a place of compassion and love.
Sure.
And of unconditional love.
Right.
Because
they get ashamed.
There's a lot of shame that goes into that, especially if they do err on the side of self-isolation.
Right.
Shame loves loneliness.
Oh, 100%.
So if you've noticed your friend has been rather distant, isn't texting in the group chat as often,
right?
It only hangs out with their significant other, doesn't really lean into their interests anymore, really have any sort of life outside of this relationship. I mean, we've all been there, right? It's like, it's easy to just become codependent and just comfortable, but it's, can be a little alarming. But yeah, I've had to say something to a friend before and didn't decide to because they were distant, because this friend has always been pretty distant. Like they just love their alone time in general. So that really wasn't a red flag for me. But I think it's important to pay attention how, especially if it's like your first time meeting a friend's boyfriend.
Right.
Pay attention to how they communicate with them in front of you, but also like when they're not around and how they talk about them.
Correct.
And if there's a lot of like deprecation going on or like playful insults going on or passive aggressiveness going on, like that is, for me, I pick up on that like immediately. I'm like, no, I don't like where this is headed.
Yep.
Because I think so much of being in a healthy relationship is honor and respect and dignity. And I think that especially when we're younger and getting into our first serious long-term relationships, we let a lot of things slide, you know?
Yeah.
So if there's a young woman listening that is, maybe has always struggled finding healthy relationships, maybe she's always found herself in dynamics that were not the healthiest, is there any advice you'd give her in terms of how to heal and move on, like Lions?
I would say get to know yourself. Spend some time with yourself. What are your non-negotiables? What are the things that you absolutely have to have in a relationship? An equal partner, respect, support, whatever that may be. And don't settle for anything less than your non-negotiables, because you're worth it. You're worth it. Nobody can fulfill you. You have to fulfill yourself first, and you have to be happy with yourself first to be able to be in a healthy, happy relationship. Nobody can do that for you. You have to do it for yourself first. And then you can say, all right, let's go. Who is the one here that possesses my non-negotiables?
Yeah.
And
at a young age, though, that's hard to do.
It's very hard to
right?
do. It's very hard to do.
I think it's...
And so when we talk about healthy relationships, I think we should be in every school, period. And it isn't just when we get invited. I think we should be there. Like you take health class, this is embedded in it.
Yep.
Because let's face it, just look around. Everyone suffers from some part of what we just talked about today. As you were speaking, I just think through my own life of like various things. I mean, not that anything was bad, but I mean, there were certain things that like I had to learn along the way. Did anybody teach a healthy relationship class in school? No. Nobody did. So we all could use it, right? And at the gala, when that video was played of either story, like when I talk about this mission weighing heavy on me, we're no better off today than we were for those two stories. We're not. We got to do more. We got to do better.
And it really does start with education, I think.
It's where the rubber hits the road.
I mean, all we have to work with is whatever relationships we've been shown in our youth and upbringing, right? And if those aren't the relationships that we want for ourselves, and then it's up to us to figure out how to move forward and how to break that cycle, honestly. And for me personally, the only way I've been able to kind of, I think it's taken a lot of time, work on my self-esteem. I think self-esteem certainly has a huge impact on what kind of relationships you allow in your life. But the work has consisted of lots of podcasts around relationships and emotional intelligence.
Right.
But also, I think that, I'm one of those people that dives in head first and makes a bunch of mistakes and learns by doing.
I'm that
So
way.
I think that over time, as you guys probably know, you mature and you figure out what you don't want along the way, and you realize that knowing what you don't want and what you won't settle for is more important than knowing what you do want.
Correct.
Sure.
Those non-negotiables are huge, because it's like you can have a lot of things, but if you don't have these basics, no thanks.
Yeah. And it's one thing to realize that, something doesn't feel right, but it's another thing to honor that feeling and trust your intuition and do something about it. And And it's really, like you guys said, it's a slippery slope in relationships like this. So,
and that's important. Your gut, if your gut is telling you something is not right, listen to it, because our guts are rarely wrong.
Right.
If a relationship doesn't feel right, there's just a but, yeah, they're great, but listen to that. Don't shy away from it. Don't say, oh, I'm nuts, I'm too paranoid. Our guts are rarely wrong. And I've learned this, at 52, I've realized, my gut's really never wrong. I really, so now I listen to it, even if it might not be the outcome that I want, but I listen to my gut because it's never wrong. Your gut's never wrong.
And every time I don't listen to my gut and I, kick myself because I'm like, oh,
Correct.
Should have listened to my gut.
Correct.
Sure.
Correct.
I knew this whole time.
Yeah.
Sure.
You guys are also one of the beneficiaries of the upcoming Syracuse Auto Dealers Association charity preview in February. How did this partnership come about, and what impact do you think it'll have on your programs?
So I reached out to SETA and asked, okay, what do I need to do? Like, how can we do this? How can we, and it was like a time crunch, but got them all the information that they needed. It goes before a committee, and then they select which nonprofits will be on that list. And I mean, I was so excited to get that email that we were one of the ones, because we're on there with some incredibly respected and amazing charities. You have Maureen's Hope, David's Refuge, United Way, like you name it. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity. And so the way it works is when somebody purchases a ticket for the event, they can select one or more charities that they would like the proceeds of their ticket to go to. And if people want to select Vera House, they can actually go right to our website, verahouse.org, and right on the homepage, there's a button that says SADA, S-A-D-A on there. They can click on that by the buttons, and that way the proceeds will go to Vera House. But it's to me, it's one of my favorite events because you get to see all that we have to offer out there as far as all of the services that these nonprofits offer, everything from services for caregivers to, cancer patients, to domestic violence like we do. I mean, you name it. And it's truly a powerful way of bringing the community together and showing them everything that's out there. I think it's going to bring added awareness to what we do, because a lot of people think that we're just a shelter. We're so much more than that, as even you learned today when we were sitting here talking. We do prevention, education, SANE, elder abuse, you name it. So it's going to be a great way to expand people's views on what Vera House actually does. And what we do is so all-encompassing. So it's really going to be an amazing opportunity. And it's also a great time. It's a lot of fun. I've gone for the last couple of years, and it's a really good time. But it's going to help with funding, which, obviously in order to expand our programs, we need.
Sure.
And it's going to expand people's understanding of what we do.
Yeah.
So.
I've heard really great things about this event. I've never been able to attend, but it should be an amazing experience. And I love that they allow people to select multiple organizations to donate to when they purchase their ticket. How do events like these, beyond the fundraising, help strengthen the community awareness? You guys are going to be popping up with some information there at this event.
Yes.
But I think simply just like networking and having authentic conversations in real life is probably another way that you guys have been able to spread the word about Vera House.
Absolutely. And, we're also working on doing collaborations with other nonprofits, which is incredibly important. Our dear friend Tracy, whose podcast we were just on also.
It was a great episode. You guys should go and tune into that one too.
Yep. We're actually looking at doing something in collaboration with Safe Space. So, and again, in this day and age, everybody's hurting for funding, so that's also a great way, working in collaboration with other nonprofits that maybe offer something that we don't, but we can work together.
Right.
to make it an, all access type of thing.
I'm all about collaborating and partnering.
Absolutely.
And it can be such a great way to get the job done more efficiently, have more impact. And, you guys, the nonprofits here in Central New York, you guys are asking all the same people
Correct.
for funding, right?
Correct.
So if you can find a creative way to collaborate and create something together with another organization and split those funds, that just sounds like a win-win to me.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that's a really important topic. Because some people have pushed back, right? When we talk about that we have to take care of all sides. Some people then send in messages to say, I agree they need to be cared for, but not by you, not under the same mission. Well, our mission says we're going to end it. So we have to take that seriously. We do take it seriously. Maybe there is going to be something we're doing. We do have an accountability program, but maybe it's that we're going to connect that person with another service within the community. Doesn't mean that Vera House themselves is doing the work, but we're connecting it, and we got to see it through. Because these people love each other. Let's not forget about that. Some of these people love each other, and they're going to be together, right? Because sometimes you see they get out and then they go back. And so how can we help that?
Yeah, how can we
Because
still
there's
make a
children
difference?
involved in a lot of these situations.
Yep.
And we've seen it firsthand where we might have someone at the shelter and their children are there and the kids are mad. The kids are mad at the mom. They want to be back at the house with the cat and the goldfish
Yeah.
and their dad, right? So how do we bridge that gap for them too? It's when you said it before, it's deep and complicated, and no two cases are the same. So the getting out to these various things and being able to share those stories so that people understand what's under the hood of this work. It's not a cookie cutter solution. If it was, we would have solved the problem by now.
It's a very big problem to
It's
solve.
huge
It's
problem.
a systemic issue. It's a generational
Sure.
problem for a lot of these families.
It's a cycle.
And it's not just one issue, one and done fix.
No.
There's a million other issues that have led to this one big issue.
Sure.
And there's so many things that are entangled, especially when you have children in the mix, family dynamics. I'll give it to you guys. Like, this is probably one of the biggest problems and hardest jobs that you guys probably could have taken on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just have nothing but respect because you guys come here today with great energy, ready to keep moving forward, ready to keep addressing these issues, and ready to spread awareness around this. Because
And we keep going back to work every day. So there's that.
you guys look
we have to.
fabulous. I mean,
Because
come
we have
on.
to. We have to.
Yeah,
You
we
guys have to.
We
And
have to.
So
Yeah.
that's the right
it's-
mindset.
It's in our
we-
DNA. It
it's-
just is.
we have
Yeah.
to, because we've got to do more and we've got to do better.
Yeah.
Because the need is there, and it's we've talked about it before today, that it's worse than people would think.
And and when you work with a good team and it's infectious when you see watch her face when I do this. I love doing this to her because she hates when I do it. She's a great leader. But she truly is, because it's infectious, and when you work with people that are that passionate about something, it truly, it's infectious, and it continues to light a fire in my belly, when I work with people like Tricia or Emmeline or Olivia or Desiree or Joy, I can name them all. I mean, they're incredible and they're so passionate about what they do. So when you have a team of people like that, the sky's the limit. It's just a matter of how can we do more, and doing things like this, like your podcast. This is going to raise awareness to a lot of people. This may very well be, what somebody needed to listen to call that number, which again, our number is 315-468-3260. That's the crisis line.
We'll be sure to include it in the show notes as well for people.
Yes. And again, just because you haven't been quote unquote hit doesn't mean that you're not in an abusive relationship. You can call, may just need to talk to someone. That's it.
Yeah. You might need some guidance around a certain
Correct.
issue, navigating
Correct.
something that you feel like might be
Correct.
abuse.
Correct. It doesn't feel right, but I'm not sure. Talk to
It
one
can
of our
just
advocates.
be maybe the only thing you need is just, affirmation of
Right.
something you're experiencing because you are being gaslit.
Right.
Am I crazy?
Right.
Is this
Right.
just in my head, or is my gut actually telling me something that's true?
Correct.
It can be so healing to have that. And I think that leaving a relationship, whether it's abusive or not, is hard. And the best thing you can do for yourself is find yourself a community to lean on, because you're not going to be able to leave alone.
No.
I'll open up a little bit right now. Like, I know I just ended a long-term relationship myself. And I think that I would have ended it earlier if I didn't feel like I had to be able to leave completely on my own without depending on a single person, and leave in a way that still maintained a certain appearance or a certain lifestyle. So I didn't have to be humbled in any sort of way. And I think that mindset just keeps you stuck, because life is long. It's full of ups and downs. You're gonna be humbled regardless.
Yeah.
And the best thing for you to do is be honest and protect your peace.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
and
boy,
the only way
that's something that took me way long to
the
do.
only reason why I was able to make this decision, which was very hard still, it still is, but it was really because I had finally found my community. And I had a few conversations with a few girlfriends that had been through something similar, and I was able to see for myself, if they can do it, if they could leave that situation, I can too. And
look at you now.
And that was what it did. That's what did it for me. So the fact that you guys have this crisis line is so important, because if someone doesn't have that community, and I had to go out and build it, right? If someone doesn't have that, they still have an option with Vera House. And you guys still have advocates and a team full of people that can listen and hear them and validate them. And that might just be exactly what someone needs.
Yeah.
I've seen the team recently, within the past couple weeks, navigate a couple situations. And I was so impressed with their grace and their empathy and how they made the client feel safe and like just thinking outside the box to what help looks like. It's impressive to see. I could just see the weight lifted off the client's face when they were, they do it and they do it well. It's a great team. It's a great team of people.
Tricia, I mean, since you are an incredible leader, what do you think your proudest moment has been so far stepping into this role?
That we've turned a corner, right? It was a heavy lift. Building this team, I mean, if there's anything I know in my career, you got to build the right team. So building this team has been amazing to watch. We've had a very successful 2025. I'm really looking forward to 2026, because now we're going to put our foot on the gas and do more. We've been working to build. So, this team, I would say, and stabilizing the agency, it's been great.
That's definitely
It's been one of my proudest moments of my entire career.
Well, that is something a great leader would say, right? They would talk about their team.
Yeah.
How do you build a great team?
Wow.
That's a huge skill. It's very hard to do.
Yeah, so some of it's gut, some of it is, it's accountability. So I think if the team were here, they would say, leading fairly, but holding myself accountable and holding them accountable. Because trust me, some of what I say to them, they don't want to hear it, but they know it's right. I wouldn't be telling them it, right, if it wasn't the right thing to do. And understanding to mentor them up, right, that, they can acquire the skill set needed. I'm big on managing fairly across the board. So we're not going to
by example.
We're not going to put a policy out there and not follow it ourselves and expect that the team's going to.
Yeah.
Also assessing people for their strengths and weaknesses, right? So everybody that stepped into Vera House has, heart's been in the right place, but it's about assessing, if it's a good fit. we need that, and assessing it and dividing and conquering to part ways when we need to. And I think the beauty too is that when we have jobs available, we've got tremendous people putting their resumes in. And it goes to show that people want to be part of the movement, which is, being part of this, trying to fix this, ending it, right? It's going to take the right people around the table. So, and measuring our impact.
Got to measure that impact.
Got to measure the impact. Other than that, you're just checking a box to say you did it. And that's not taking us anywhere.
That's right. That's the only way to move forward too. I think that can really resonate with probably a lot of people listening, especially just like people just in their early career, climbing the ladder, trying to grow. You can do your best work and contribute to any organization in such a fundamental way. But if you're not documenting and sharing and talking about that, that good stuff that you're doing, you're probably going to be, it's going to be harder for you to get that promotion and get those opportunities. So it's definitely have to measure the
team
impact.
Would also say that they'll laugh because, when we check to see whether what we did was the right outcome we were looking for, right? We would be not uncommon to come into my office and we're going to do a root cause analysis. And in the beginning, I can remember when they came into my office, we had a situation that wasn't the outcome we were looking for. So we're going to get to the root of the problem. Where did we break down, right? Did we have the right training? Did we, asking yourself the 5 whys of why something didn't work. And in the beginning, they're like, what are you doing? And once we got through the exercise, they were like, oh my God.
Right.
We would have just given this excuse up here if we were just going to talk about it around the table. But you forced us to do this exercise. And we actually found out that there were 6 other things that were part of the problem.
Yep.
And we now got to the root of the problem. And we've, it then turns into more training. It turns into all the other things that we need to put in place to hold ourselves accountable to make a difference. Because if we're just going to take care of people and the problem's not going to go away, we're going to be sitting here in another 30 years talking about the same damn thing, which is we do decent work, but we're not ending it. We're not fixing it. And we've got to get to the root of the problem of what's causing it in the first place. So that's our journey.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to dig in, right? It's never the first answer.
And ask yourself the hard questions. You're not going to learn and grow if we're not going to talk about what we can screw up. We're going to talk about it. We're going to put it up on this wall and we're going to talk about that maybe we didn't do that so red hot. And what do we need to do it better next time? That's all it is. There's no finger pointing. It's we get to the bottom of it together and put the things in place and move on so that we get a better outcome next time.
It takes failures to succeed.
Sure does.
It does.
And we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, 100%.
We're going to make mistakes.
The quicker you can own them and accept them and confront them, the quicker you're able to move forward and improve. Rebecca, you've had a career spanning from politics to nonprofits, leadership of all kinds. What has this chapter at Vera House taught you about impact?
So I can honestly say I have never, aside from raising my children, this has been the most fulfilling experience of my life. And it is because I actually get to see the impact. And to me, hearing the survivor stories and seeing that aha moment in a woman's eyes when you speak to them about Vera House and what a healthy relationship is, what consent looks like, those to me are priceless. And that, yes, I've done some pretty cool stuff in my 52 years, but I have to say this has been the most fulfilling role professionally that I have ever had. I've come across some amazing individuals, and some of which are at Vera House. And but knowing that when I go to work every day, something I do will impact someone's life. Just doing this podcast, somebody can call our number today, and this is what it took for them to say, you know what, this isn't right. I'm getting out of this.
Right.
And they call our number. Those little things, there are very few jobs out there, I think, that can give you that level of satisfaction of knowing that you're actually touching people's lives, that you're saving people's lives.
Sure.
that is, to me, that's priceless. It's priceless.
I love that. No, it's very important work. And I can only imagine how, although very heavy work, how much purpose you feel like you have in your life right now.
Tremendous. Even when it's somebody, calling that they want to drop off some quilts or, care packages or what, just seeing their face when they're doing that, again, that's priceless because there's nothing like that paying it forward. I live my life based on a pay it forward philosophy. And to see people paying it forward at Vera House, again, priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For listeners who are moved by this conversation, what are the most meaningful ways they can get involved in what you guys are doing?
Sure.
How can they support you guys?
Donate, right? We can't survive on just grants alone. Granted, we are grant funded, but it doesn't cover the whole cost. So we have to fundraise. We talk about it all the time that we hope we don't get to a point where people stop answering our phone calls when they see our number pop up.
No,
they're like,
Rebecca.
I know what they're
Don't
looking
answer.
for.
Don't answer.
So donating financially, we're going to have a way here shortly to have a monthly, like if it works for people to just have a recurring monthly payment go into Vera House. That's a way. We have a wish list on Amazon. We're going to start to do some welcome baskets at the shelter. So when someone, we can maybe have another podcast to talk about like the journey of someone coming through our shelter and what that looks like, right? Because I think we talk about it up here and the great work that the shelter does. But let's talk about really when someone has left and you're taking that nervous first step of walking into that shelter and what that place looks like and the feel and all of that. We talk about that on a regular basis. So we're going to be working on putting some welcome baskets so that when they come into that room, I want it cute and cozy and for them to feel like there's hope.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine what it feels like in your gut to be taking that first step.
We'll be sure to link that Amazon wish list too. That's a great idea because I'm sure you guys are always looking for just more items, care products and stuff for your clients.
Sure. Yep. And like we'll, new clothing we can accept. We just had the New York State Dental Hygienist Association drop off hundreds of toothbrushes and toothpaste and we have a toy drive for the holidays where people have donated, new unwrapped toys. We're going to have our light up campaign for the holidays where people can donate, it's $1 a day, $30 a month, and you get a light that you can put in your window on your wherever you want to put it to kind of indicate, it's a safe place. We're here to support Vera House and just see that map light up on our website. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be amazing. And this is all stuff that people can learn about if they go to our website at verahouse.org, or they can just reach out to me directly at rshiroff, RSHIROFF at verahouse.org. And we can always find ways of, seeing how either a company or an individual can, either come up with some type of initiative, individual donations, monetary, do fundraisers for us, anything like that. So there's several different ways, and I'm very, very creative when it comes to ways to collaborate and, especially companies, how they can work with Vera House to help us with funding and different initiatives and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and you're really passionate about what Vera House does, there's so many ways you could, donate, whether it's your treasure or your time and talent. You guys are going to be looking to round up some talented people for your gala committee next year. So there's an opportunity for that. And, you guys have a lot of other incredible initiatives going on for 2026. So what do you guys have in the works? What can people look forward to or expect to see from Vera House next year?
So we have, obviously.
I'm not going to steal her thunder because she does a great job. So she gets to talk about it.
No, so the things that we have solidly in the works is we have SETA, obviously, that's coming up. I'm not sure when this is airing, but December 26th, there's going to be a ladies only dance party at Middle Ages Brew House, and all the proceeds from that are going to go to Vera House.
That sounds fun. Please
Yeah.
send me the information.
Yes,
I would love to
yes.
spread the word about that.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. And that's going to be December 26th, the day after Christmas, when some people need a break from the family, and they want to just go hang out with their girlfriends. Perfect opportunity.
All right, you guys, the last couple minutes of this conversation unfortunately got cut off, but I'm here to close it out strong. I want to thank Tricia and Rebecca for sharing their insights, their passion, and for doing the very important work that they do every day at Vera House. The impact that they're making, not just for survivors, but for our entire community, is truly inspiring. If you or someone you know needs support, Vera House's 24-hour hotline is available at 315-468-3260. And if you're looking to get involved, whether through volunteering, donating, or simply learning more, you can visit verahouse.org. Thank you for tuning in to Cultivate CNY. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who'd appreciate this conversation. This podcast is produced by Diam Media Group, a video production company based in Syracuse, New York. If you'd like to work with Diam Media for your next big campaign, or maybe a podcast you'd like to get off the ground, head to diammedia.com to learn more. Until next time, I'm Alex Canavan, and I'll see you next Monday.